So the normal map is a texture that stores surface normal information. A normal is simply a perpendicular line that is drawn to a surface. You can easily see that by clicking on whatever object you want, tab into edit mode, and click on A, select everything, go to this drop down over here that says overlays, and we're going to go down to normals. And once you click on this one over here, you'll be able to see the normals to that surface. Good. Now back to normals. Normal maps help us to add fine details to a surface without changing the geometry at all. So what it does is it has the surface normal data, whether it is, more defined, it has bumps, it has roughness, it has some crevices, it has some depth information in that particular texture, and it maps that normal data to the surface and gives it those fine details without changing the geometry of the shape. So remember that you can get the normal from Polyhaven just like I did. And I'm going to add a normal to this object here. So we're going to go back to the material setup over here. And we've been able to establish the base color here. And we're going to do the same thing and add a normal. As you can see, for the principled BSDF, we have a normal socket over here. Remember, a normal is an image. So it means that we need to add an image node to be able to add a normal map to this project. So I'm going to go over to any empty space and click on Shift A, and I'll go to texture, go to image texture, and I'll drop it anywhere. Awesome. So the next thing is I will click on open, and I will navigate where I have that texture. And I have this normal map over here. Now I can easily tell that this is a normal map because it's usually, purple or lilac, and it has some, fine details to it. But this is different in different cases. For example, for this metal normal map over here, you can see that it also has this sort of lilac color to it, but it still has the fine details of, the metal grate kind of texture. So I'm going to go back to the wooden texture and click on this. You can also tell from the naming, this is normal, and click on open image. Awesome. So we've been able to add the normal texture to this image texture over here. And remember that we talked about connecting the sockets to similar sockets. Right now, we want to connect this texture, this normal texture, to this normal socket in the principal BSDF. So we need sort of like a transition node, and we actually have a normal map node in Blender. So we're going to go to, click on Shift A and just search for normal map. And you have normal map over here. It's different from normal. And we're going to click on normal map. And once we click on that, we now see that we have both the color socket and the normal socket. And this is what we need. So we're going to connect the color socket from this texture to the color socket on normal map over here. And we're going to connect the normal socket from the normal map to the normal socket on the principal BSDF. Okay, and if we look closely, let's see if there is any subtle change. And we can just look at the side over here. We can see that it still looks pretty flat, but we can crank up the strength and we can see what's happening over here. So you can see that it's also adding some fine details to this surface over here to give it a more wooden finish. I'm going to switch to this final render mode, and you can see what's happening over here. So if you reduce the strength, it's flat, and you can increase the strength and you can see that it's rougher. And now we have some fine details added using the normal map. So one final thing we have to take note of is the fact that we have rescaled the texture for this diffuse. So we need to properly align the normal by connecting this mapping node to the normal. So we do so by clicking on the vector socket for the mapping node and taking it down to the vector socket for the normal. And as you can see, it's now properly aligned. Awesome.